There's a particular magic in driftwood that no other material possesses. Each twisted branch, each smooth curve, each bleached surface tells an epic story of transformation, of being shaped not by human hands, but by the relentless patience of water, wind, and time. Abstract driftwood sculptures capture this untamed spirit while elevating it into something transcendent. They're not merely arrangements of wood, they're frozen moments of nature's artistry, reinterpreted through human vision. The journey begins where land meets sea. Beaches become treasure troves for artists who understand that the most compelling pieces aren't found but revealed. A gnarled root system that spent decades tumbling through ocean currents might emerge with contours so fluid they appear sculpted by Renaissance masters. A fractured plank from some forgotten dock, worn smooth as silk by sand and waves, might curve in ways that defy the original wood's memory. This is nature's first act of creation, the slow, brutal, beautiful process that turns ordinary wood into something extraordinary before human intervention even begins. Artists who work with driftwood become collaborators rather than dictators. Unlike traditional sculptors who impose form on material, driftwood artists engage in a profound dialogue with what the ocean has provided. They'll spend hours, sometimes days, studying a single piece, rotating it in their hands, observing how light travels across its weathered grooves, waiting for the wood to suggest its destiny. One twisted branch might demand to become the spiraling centerpiece of an abstract mobile, while a smooth, flat section insists on being part of a wall-mounted relief that seems to flow like water. The construction of abstract driftwood sculptures often resembles three-dimensional poetry. Artists employ techniques ranging from barely their connections, using nearly invisible dowels or marine-grade adhesives, to dramatic juxtapositions where rough-hewn bolts become intentional design elements. Some create tension-filled compositions where pieces appear to hover or balance impossibly, playing with gravity as part of the artistic statement. Others build organic clusters that mimic coral formations or schools of fish, the wood's natural curves creating movement in static form. Texture becomes language in these sculptures. The contrast between a piece's smooth underside, worn by constant sand friction, and its cracked, sun-baked top tells a tactile story of duality. Artists might highlight this by arranging pieces so both textures are visible, creating compositions that change character depending on viewing angle. Some incorporate untouched sections where barnacles still cling to the wood, celebrating rather than removing these oceanic fingerprints. Scale plays with perception in mesmerizing ways. A small tabletop sculpture crafted from delicate driftwood twigs can project monumental presence through its negative spaces and dynamic balance. Conversely, massive installation pieces constructed from entire driftwood logs often feel surprisingly light and airy when arranged to emphasize their fluid lines. Many artists play with this paradox intentionally, creating works that appear weightless despite their substantial materials, or pieces that seem to grow organically from walls like wooden flames. The patina of driftwood, that distinctive silvery gray hue, becomes its own artistic medium. Some artists preserve it religiously, using clear sealants that protect without altering the wood's sun-bleached soul. Others introduce subtle enhancements, perhaps lightly torching certain areas to bring out hidden grain patterns, or using organic dyes to create gentle gradients that suggest tidal movements. The most daring might incorporate metallic leaf in select crevices, so when light hits at certain angles, the sculpture appears to glow from within. Light interaction transforms these sculptures throughout the day. Morning sun might set delicate wood fibers aglow, revealing translucent edges where the wood has worn nearly to paper thinness. Afternoon light can cast intricate shadow patterns that become secondary artworks on adjacent walls. By evening, strategically placed lighting can make the sculptures appear to float, their twisted forms creating dramatic silhouettes. Some artists design specifically for this phenomenon, creating pieces that are as much about the shadows they cast as their physical forms. Abstract driftwood sculptures challenge conventional notions of art preservation. While traditional sculptures might be kept from humidity, these pieces often thrive in it. Some artists design for outdoor installation, allowing their work to continue evolving with weather exposure. The sculptures develop new cracks, subtle shifts in color, even occasional moss growth, all becoming part of the artwork's ongoing story. Indoor pieces undergo more subtle transformations, slowly responding to ambient humidity and human touch, developing a soft sheen where hands most often linger. The emotional resonance of these works stems from their dual nature, simultaneously rugged and delicate, chaotic and perfectly balanced. Viewers often report feeling a strange sense of recognition when encountering powerful driftwood sculptures, as if the forms tap into some primal memory of shorelines and survival. Abstract pieces particularly invite personal interpretation. One person might see a representation of ocean currents in a swirling composition, while another perceives a metaphor for human resilience in the same work. Contemporary driftwood artists are pushing boundaries in thrilling directions. Some incorporate other marine found objects, sea glass positioned like trapped bubbles, rusted metal fragments as deliberate counterpoints to the wood's organic flow. Others experiment with suspension systems that allow sculptures to rotate slowly in air currents, creating ever-changing compositions. A vanguard is blending traditional driftwood techniques with digital tools, using 3D scanning to plan impossible-seeming balances before physically constructing them. Displaying abstract driftwood sculptures requires thoughtful consideration of environment. Against white gallery walls, they become pure form studies. In natural settings, they blend and contrast simultaneously with their surroundings. Many collectors create dedicated moments for these pieces, perhaps a niche with focused lighting, or a room corner where shadows can play across adjacent surfaces. The best installations consider sight lines from multiple angles, as these sculptures often reveal completely different personalities when viewed from various perspectives. For those who live with driftwood sculptures, the relationship deepens over time. Unlike static artworks, these pieces seem to carry the energy of their origins. The salt air, the crash of waves, the timeless journey that brought them ashore. They serve as daily reminders of nature's boundless creativity and humanity's role not as conqueror of materials, but as interpreter of nature's artistry. In an age of mass production, they represent the irreplicable. No two driftwood sculptures can ever be truly alike, just as no two waves ever rearrange the same shoreline identically. There's something profoundly humbling about a masterfully crafted driftwood sculpture. It's not merely an object, it's a conversation frozen in time. A dialogue between the relentless patience of the sea and the discerning eye of the artist. Between the chaos of nature's forces and the order of human creativity. These pieces don't just occupy space, they vibrate with the energy of their dual creation. What makes driftwood sculpture so uniquely powerful is its inherent contradiction. The wood arrives broken, weathered by salt, cracked by sun, smoothed by countless tides. Yet in the hands of the right artist, these apparent flaws become features. That jagged edge isn't sanded away, it's highlighted. That wormhole isn't filled, it's framed. The sculptor's genius lies not in forcing the material into submission, but in recognizing where nature's work ends and human intervention should begin. This is art that teaches us profound lessons about creativity, the beauty of constraints. Unlike fresh timber, driftwood comes with its history irrevocably carved into every surface. The artist must work within these boundaries, turning limitations into possibilities. The wisdom of subtraction. Great driftwood sculpture often involves removing just enough to reveal the form waiting within, rather than adding unnecessary elements. The poetry of chance. Those unexpected cracks, those improbable curves shaped by random waves, they become the sculpture's most compelling features. The alchemy of time. What the ocean began over years or decades, the artist completes in weeks, yet both creators share equal credit in the final piece. Walk around an exceptional driftwood sculpture and you'll notice something remarkable. It presents entirely different personalities from each angle. One view might suggest the dynamic energy of crashing waves, another the serene stillness of a calm shore. Rotate further and suddenly you're seeing the silhouette of a seabird in flight, though no such image was deliberately carved. This multiplicity of meaning is driftwood's gift. It invites interpretation while resisting definitive explanation. The sensory experience is equally rich. Run your fingers along a piece and you'll feel the silkiness of salt-polished surfaces, the unexpected roughness of untouched fractures, the rhythmic patterns of tidal erosion, the satisfying solidity where the artist's chisel met nature's work. Contemporary driftwood artists are pushing boundaries in thrilling ways. Light integration, embedding subtle LED systems that make grain patterns glow. Kinetic elements, allowing certain components to move gently with air currents. Mixed media, combining driftwood with glass, metal, or stone to highlight contrasts. Architectural scale, creating room-sized installations that immerse viewers. Yet for all its artistic merit, driftwood sculpture carries an important environmental message. These works embody sustainable creativity at its purest, transforming what the sea has discarded into objects of contemplation and beauty. Many sculptors now use only wood collected from approved beach cleanups, turning ecological responsibility into artistic opportunity. the psychological impact is equally significant. In our age of mass production and digital overload, driftwood sculptures offer tactile authenticity in a world of smooth screens, visible imperfection in an era of airbrushed ideals, connection to nature when urban life feels increasingly artificial, meditative stillness amidst constant stimulation. Perhaps what we respond to most deeply is the metaphor these sculptures represent. Like the driftwood itself, we're all shaped by forces beyond our control: time, circumstance, the relentless waves of life. But also, like these transformed pieces, we contain the potential for reinvention, for becoming something both rooted in our past and reimagined for the present. That's why a great driftwood sculpture never feels like a closed statement, but rather like a question posed to the viewer. What do you see here? What does it make you feel? How might your own weathered edges become sources of beauty? The next time you encounter one of these pieces, don't just look, listen. To the whisper of tides in its curves. To the years of patient shaping in its hollows. To the quiet collaboration between nature's randomness and human intention. And perhaps you'll hear, beneath it all, the most comforting lesson art can offer: that there is beauty in the broken, wisdom in the weathered, and endless possibility in what the world considers washed ashore. This is the true power of driftwood sculpture. It doesn't just decorate spaces, it transforms how we see the world itself.